And here is our red-green smoker. Opponent's turn, your characters with the Navy or Punk Hazard trait get plus 1,000 power. Activate main once per turn if you have a character with 2 or more, or with 7,000 power or more. Set 2 of your Dawn as active. It's going to be very strong because we run a lot of big bodies or bodies we can just put a single Dawn on and then get the 2 Dawn back as for that arrested Dawn as active, which is kind of why we play some counter events, why we play some characters like Sanji and Beckman. So let's just get straight into the actual deck profile with Otama. Otama is going to be one of the most iconic red 2K counters, giving one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power for the turn. We're playing Baccarat, not the casino game. On opponent's attack, once per turn you may trash 1 card from your hand, give up to one of your leaders or characters plus 2,000 during this battle, so it's a free 2K counter whenever you need it, with a deck that can brick up. Then we're running Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman just trashes one of your opponent's 6,000 power lower characters. Vertigo, it's also a 7K, so you get to restand 2 Dawn, so keep that in mind with this card. We have Vertigo, which just looks at the top 5. I thought it was top 4. I guess it's top 5 for a Punk Hazard type character, and then put the rest on the bottom. We have Sanji here, which is actually in the Nami body, but it's Sanji. This character gains plus 3,000 power, and then on KO draw 1 card, so it does replace itself. And if you attach a Dawn, you get to hit that 7K threshold for our leader effect on our turn when we play this. So on a 4 Dawn turn, we play this out for 3, add a Dawn to it, and then restand 2 Dawn and swing in with 7 for our leader. We also run Tony Chopper, which is a blocker that says opponent's turn, this character gains plus 2,000 power. Now, this is the Punk Hazard type, so it gets plus 1,000 from our leader effect, and it's a 2K counter, so this card is very, very strong in the deck. We're running Monet. Monet gives 2 rested Dawn to a character. Well, it rests itself, gives 2 rested Dawn to a character or leader, and then gives one of your opponent's characters minus 1,000 power. So 2 free Dawn, always going to be good. So now we get free Dawn, just tapping out earlier in a different turn. So it's really good to play on curve and then hold for later when you need it. Eustace Captain Kidd, you know what this does. Rosinante, you know what this does. Hody Jones, you know what this does. So if you don't know, just pause really quickly over these cards. They're very iconic in the green card pool. We're running the Smoker, which is now iconic, but it wasn't before, so it's a little newer. We'll go over it. It's a 5/7 with Banish. It also has a Punk Hazard and Navy typing. Activate main, set up to one of your Dawn as active. Then you cannot set Dawn as active through character effects for the rest of this turn. Very, very strong, because now we get 3 Dawn back on a 5 Dawn turn, meaning we can restand the 2, restand 1, and then play out Tashigi, which just says when one of your green characters other than Tashigi would be removed from the board due to an opponent's effect, you may instead rest this character. Very, very good, and it helps us with that black matchup. It's also being a 2K counter, it's very strong. We run 12 total, but we play a lot of playable 2K counters, so keep that in mind as we go through the game, because we definitely will be playing these on the board when we need them. Like Tashigi's definitely playable, something you want to put on the board early to help with removal. Tony Chopper is also playable because it's a 7K blocker on your opponent's turn, so that's very good. And then the Otama just giving minus 2,000 power. Sometimes you just need that to kind of pair with like the Beckman or something like that to really just remove board. To finish it off, we are running one of the Rad Beam, which basically gives plus 2,000. Then if you have 2 or less life, give plus another 2,000 as a counter event. Kamakura Joe Sushi, which gives plus 3,000, then minus 2,000 to a character or leader on your opponent's side of the board. So you get to give plus 3,000 in your battle, and then minus 2,000 to a different character or the same character, being a 5K counter total in 2 separate fights or whatever you need it for. Very, very good stuff right here. I really enjoy this card. And it's 2 Dawn, which we get the 2 Dawn back for free. And to finish it off, Gum Mole Gun. I've actually fell in love with this card. I didn't like it at first, and it's really, really grown on me. So give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power during this turn. Then if you have a character, we have to have the character with 6,000 power or more, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. Helps in the mirror matchup, just helps with removal. It hits the Sanji Nami. It hits the Sanji Pudding that we need to for green purple Luffy. It also can hit a Smoker in a mirror match. It can hit a Beckman. There's so many great options that this can help with. If we Otama, we can then use Gum Mole Gun and then get rid of Kid. Like, this can do just so much for the deck. You can also give minus 5,000 to a Kid, make it a 3,000 character, and then pop the blocker that would save it from being KO'd. So we have to keep that in mind as well, that we can kind of combo it in multiple ways and facets. So very, very good here. I actually fell in love with this card. And that's going to be the quick deck profile. I hope you enjoy that. Let's get into the games on the sim. All right. We're going to take on green purple Luffy for the first match. It says activate main once per turn, Dawn minus 2. If you only have Straw Hat Crew type characters in play, this character or use restand 2 Dawn is active, and then this leader gains plus 2,000 power. We're going to keep this hand for sure. We have our perfect curve here. Nothing for 1 Dawn, which is okay, but we have 3, 5, and 7, and 4. Very good stuff right here. I like that we can play it on the Smoker early. We can play it on Sanji on this next turn. We can also choose not to, and then play out Sanji on the turn after. But I think putting on a little pressure earlier would be good, so we may just swing in for 8. Our opponent, they play down 2 Namis, grabbing a Frankie. This is going to get a rested Dawn back, and then a Monkey D. Luffy, which is just a great rush option they definitely need in the deck. We're going to swing in for 5 here. I think we'll play out the Sanji and then just pass the turn. They do take the first swing, which I do like. It's better than us going all 8 into it. They get the trigger from the, when you're at D, you fight pirates. It just looks at the top 3 cards and grab a Straw Hat Crew. Usohachi, it can also grab other type, but obviously in this matchup, it only matters for the Straw Hat Crew. Our Nami is a 4K, it's rested. They have 4 Dawn, they tap out for Zoro. Looking at the top 5, grabbing another Straw Hat Crew, they grab a Gum Gum Giant. So we know Usohachi and Gum Gum Giant, and we know Luffy and Frankie. So we know 4 cards in their hand right now. They're going to swing 5 at us. We're going to take very aggressively. We do get a Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman won't be able to be used on this next turn, but it will be able to be used very, very soon, and we like that. So we're going to restand 1 Dawn. We're going to restand 2 Dawn, and then we're going to swing in for 7 at our opponent, and then 7 more at our opponent. They should counter out aggressively. We kind of want them to swing the Zoro into Sanji. They go ahead and take this swing, so we only know 4 out of the 9 cards in their hand. They should give us 2 cards at this point. They knew they were going to take 1. The Usohachi and Frankie, so we only know 2 cards in their hand, which is Gum Gum Giant and the new Monkey D. Luffy, the secret that has Rush and then gets to attack twice. They swing 6 and a 4. We're going to let that go and draw an additional card. The reason the smoker states this is that you can't use multiple smokers, so that is very good for our opponent that we can't, because we could. That would be a little broken if we could restand a few Dawn every time we find this out. They get to ramp Dawn back with Frankie. They did have 2 Frankies. They have the Sanji Pudding. They Dawn -2, restand 2, and then get 1 back for Sanji Pudding. And I think we're going to go and take this swing as well. We do get Hoodie Jones. Hoodie Jones is going to be very good in this matchup. We're going to go ahead and play down Beckman, so we're going to swing. I think we're going to go Beckman first so we have the rest of Dawn. We're going to just get rid of Zoro. There is also merit into popping the Frankie, but I don't think we really need to. We're going to restand 2 Dawn. We're going to restand 1 Dawn, and then we're going to swing 8 into face. Go ahead and pop that Gum Gum Giant that they have, and then we may just go... I want to get either 2 cards for Gum Gum Giant here. That's kind of my goal with this swing. Kind of control the board a little more. And then we can decide if we want to leave extra Dawn active for Kamakura Joe Sushi, which I kind of do in this situation, just so there's no way they remove our smoker here, or we can really get through the pressure, because next turn we can't 8-drop Kid. We could also hold the Kamakura Joe Sushi, because we're going to 9, 8, tap 1, get 3 back. It's not a bad idea, but we just don't have a blocker yet. So maybe we need to save the Kamakura Joe Sushi for when we do put down Kid. So we're going to go and swing in for 7, just because we don't have something yet. So we need to force out more cards from hand and then pass. This is an 8K character, so it does get the plus 1,000 from our leader effect. We don't have much counter. We're sitting on a solid little 5K counter. So if they want to swing all out, I mean, it is what it is. We're going to probably have to give them a 1K here, sadly. We will give them the Ben Beckman. We're going to save for our kids later. Just because if they wanted to, they could swing all out at face and then we just lose. So that's the reason we kind of had to counter out there, because we just don't want to lose. So now they can go Dawn -2, restand 2, ramp 1 from the Sanji Pudding. They also ramp 1 from the Frankie effects. That was good for them. Then now they have 5 Dawn. They could put 5 Dawn on Sanji Pudding and then just swing 12 into... Yep, we're going to have to let that go more than likely. Yep, we're going to have to let Smoker go there, sadly, but I think it's just part of the position we're in. Because we can't take... We could have taken that first swing, but then they go directly into face and they play down the 6-cost Luffy and then possibly just murder us. So we definitely could not do that, sadly. We get another 8-drop Kid, so I guess we're going to go 8-drop Kid right now. They don't have an active Dawn, so that's good. We're going to put 1 Dawn on the Kid. We're going to set 2 Dawn as active. We're going to play out Vergo because we're going to try to look at the top of the deck and grab something that we can use. And of course we find absolutely nothing we can even grab. That's kind of miserable. I was hoping we would find a Tashigi because we haven't found one yet, so statistically we should have found one there. So it's really weird that we haven't, if I'm going to be honest with you. We could have left the 2 active for Kamakura Joe Sushi, but I was a little greedy there, so it is what it is. We're just going to have to accept what the mistakes that were made and go on with the day. We still have 4K counter. We won't have a blocker, which is kind of miserable. We're going to rest this down. We're going to leave 1 active here, just to bluff a Rad Beam. This is kind of just a miserable draw against the Green Purple Luffy, I'm not going to lie to you guys. So usually we have a way better matchup, but we do have multiple kids, so we should be safe here. They play down Luffy Toro, Dawn -1, play down Zoro. Get to look at the top 5, replacing both the Namis that were on the board. And now we know they still have the 6-cost, and they already used the Usohachi. They used the Gum Gum Giant. So now we know they have Sanji, a 2K counter, and we know they have the 6-cost Rush Luffy. So now they're going to be sitting at 5 Dawn here. They could swing in for 5, 5, and just do a bunch of small attacks. Oh no, they have to go into Kid. I did forget they had to go into Kid here. So this may be a more advantageous position than we originally believed. They look at the top of the deck, they grab a Fernosuke, they're just trying to counter up right now because we do have a lot of aggression on the board. They've already used, 2 Gum Gum Giants out of hand, so they used a Gum Gum Giant and they discarded a Gum Gum Giant, telling me they may have another Gum Gum Giant, or they may have nothing at all. So we need to keep all these little things in mind as we continue the game. That kind of tells me they probably have another one, and that's why they had to take so aggressively early. The green-purple Luffy deck does brick up a lot. Now, usually not as bad as what we're doing right now, but it can happen for sure. They're going to swing 9 into 8. We're going to go ahead and counter out for 2 very easily there. They can only have 2 additional Dawn. They can go 8 into 8, but that's about all they can do. So they could also use the Frankies and swing in just to ramp back up. Yep, that's going to be good by our opponent just to ramp up their Dawn. Really good stuff. But hey, we're going for game. We are going for game here. We're going to go and drop Hody Jones, tap down both of the Dawn, take the life, and then restand 2 Dawn. So we're going to choose to swing in for 9 here at our opponent. No, wait, 8 here at our opponent. See what they decide to do. We know they have at least 2 2Ks. We know they have at least 1 brick, and we're presuming they have a Gum Gum Giant. So they give us 2 2Ks there. We know they have a Frenosuke, and that should be about all they have. If they have 2 2K here's, then we know they have no counter. So there's a lot of math going into these swings you have to think about, and they choose to take. They have 9 4K counter. We were just going to swing in for 9. They would have given us 2 2Ks, and then we probably would have only swung in actually for 8, get the 2 2Ks, and then swing in for 6. That actually would have been game, but then we would have left 2 active and then had the Kamakura Joe Sushi. We could have also gone for playing the Rosinante out as a blocker, but I like having all this counter in hand just to be safe, because then they would have to go really big to kill Kid with no blocker on the board. We go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9K counter. So as long as they can't get to over, I mean, if they swing 18, we still live thanks to their swings on the board. So yeah, hey, GG's to our opponent. That was a tough fought. That was a tough fought fight, but we got it in the end. And you can see that hand right there. They did have the Gum Gum Giants. I knew they had at least 1 still in there because you wouldn't discard that many, and they still had the 6-cost Luffy that we did see them grab. These are the things you have to keep in mind as you play this game. You need to be very situationally aware. We have some Smoker v Smoker action here. I kind of like this, just seeing how Smoker does against Smoker. Now, if you don't know the anime, you know why do they look so different? Well, you won't really just honestly understand. So we're going to keep mulligan. We're going to mulligan that hand. I just didn't see any options that I really liked early. The Monet's good, but they just remove it so easily, possibly because they are a black deck. I mean, that's their whole job, is to remove our characters. If we played on the Virgo, they do get a plus 1,000 every single turn, but that's not something we're too afraid of at the moment. We can also use this to pop their little chump searchers as well whenever we go into, you know, if they try to swing in with a searcher or something. We're going to go and play this down. I don't want to use the Rosinante yet. I want to save that for later in the game. We're going to grab a 5-cost Smoker here because we already have a Sanji. We don't really need Kamakura Joe Sushi. I'd rather have the Smoker, so we're just going to do this and pass to our opponent. Very simple stuff. No Dawn set active because obviously we don't have a 7K on the board. We have a 2K. And not a good 2K, not a 2K counter. We have a 2K character. They played on Brand New. Brand New's going to look at the top 3, grab a Navy, and trash the rest. Grab Kobe. They trash Hot Couture, Patchwork, and another Brand New. So they only had 1 option to grab anyways, which was the Kobe. KO's a 3-cost or lower character. It's going to be pretty good if they can get some kind of cost minus on the board, because they can remove our Smoker pretty proactively here. Really good stuff for our opponent. They get to swing in for 7 with the 1 Dawn, giving -1 to the Virgo, and then swinging in. And we're just going to take aggressively. That's what our deck does. It's what we do well, so we're definitely going to. We get Ben Beckman. Ben Beckman's going to be very strong here. And then we're going into 4 Dawn. Now, we could play down Sanji or Tony Chopper, or we could go Sanji, restand 2 Dawn, swinging for 7. I like this more just because of the strength of drawing a card. If they do choose to KO our character, it at least gives us some kind of power here. We could actually just swing in for 5 and then play down Rosinante early, forcing them to, because they're going to play on this Sanji next turn, or the Kobe next turn, so I'd rather swing in for 7. Because if they played on this Kobe to KO our Sanji, we're okay with that because we get to draw a card and they get to discard a card, so we're kind of going neutral in you know, our positions there. Versus if I play Rosinante and they KO Rosinante, we don't have a good blocker later for use as Captain Kidd when we're developing that. So I think that's the reason, the best reason to explain why we just swung in for 7 and didn't play down the Rosinante. They don't have a way to really afflict our hand size, so really, I think an advantageous position here. They could put 1 Dawn, swing in for 7 again, do their usual stuff, then tap 1 for something else, 3 for something else, you know, the whole 9 yards. They choose to go Kuzan instead to give minus to another character. That's going to be really good for our opponent here because we don't have much removal right now. If we had a Gum Gum Mole Gun, that would be very, very good. So if we could top deck that, I would be a happy man. I would be a happy man. Now, if we do get the trigger of a Gun Mole Gun, we don't get the effect. So keep that in mind as we continue this because we're going to definitely hold that in hand. They're going to swing in for the 7 here. They do have a Kuzan. I would love some kind of way to remove Kuzan because Kuzan can swing in, make Smoker a smaller character, do all that kind of stuff. We don't get the Mole Gun. How greedy can we get? I would love to see a Tashigi here. This will restand 3 Dawn after. So we will Virgo just to see our options. And all we have is Kamakura Joe Sushi, so we're going to definitely take that. We're going to play down Smoker. just because this is how we need to restand our Dawn. So then we Smoker to restand another Dawn. Now we have 3 Dawn total. We're gonna just swing in for 5 at our opponent. Smaller swings first. They could get some kind of trigger to KO the Sanji, so I'm assuming they're gonna counter, but also you just really never know. Then we can choose to put down Rosinante. If one of your rested characters are to be KO'd, the only one that's really rested is going to be swung into. They're more than likely going to pop the Smoker, and we don't have the 3-cost Tashigi. This would be the perfect play for 3-cost Tashigi, if I'm honest with you guys, but we just don't have it. So hey, we're just going to let them counter out aggressively. That's actually good for us and what we're trying to do. We're going to play down another Sanji here, and we're going to go a little more aggro right now, just because that's the better setup at the moment. Because again, we just don't have that Tashigi. Now, Ben Beckman will be a great way to remove their character off the board, the Kuzan that is, or whatever they choose to play this turn, so we definitely have some options there. We have Hoodie Jones, we have Eustace Kid. We are going in 8 Dawn, so we could technically Kid next turn, but with the amount of removal they could possibly have and the cost minus they have on the board, if we can't remove this Kuzan, we definitely need to make sure we don't have enough cost minus to just remove Kid very easily. Ooh, now they're gonna be able to pop Smoker with Tashigi. They put 1 Dawn on leader first, yep. And then they give it -1, and then they go Tashigi effect. They're gonna swing in for probably 5. I think if they swing the Kuzan, that's probably the incorrect play, but it is what it is. We don't have an additional Smoker right now, so we just lose that character off the board. Nothing you can really do about it. Next turn, we can go Chopper and Beckman, and then go into Eustace Captain Kid on the next turn. 6 into Sanji, and then we'll get to draw an additional card. Yep, that's cool with me. We get to draw a card from this and kind of filter the deck a little bit. They don't have any options to KO, so they do give minus to the Sanji, but we're, again, okay with that. If we have a way to remove this Kuzan, that's going to be very good, but I also think it's just going to help us get cards out of hand. They choose not to swing our life, which is very interesting here. We're going to swing the Kuzan for 6. I think just swinging 6 is pretty self-explanatory here, because now we can go Beckman and just remove it. We're not too worried about the Tashigi, honestly. Now we get to restand 2 Dawn. Now we're sitting on 3 Dawn, and then we'll play down Virgo. We're going to look at the top of the deck. We're going to grab a Tashigi here. We're going to put these on the top. We do have Tashigi at least for later on. So now we're going to swing in for 5 at our opponent here, and then we're going to play down one of these Rosinantes. We're really setting up for Kid on this next turn, so we're hoping that we can kind of develop the board a little better. So I actually want them to remove this Rosinante. I want them to use that Kobe that we know they still have in hand, because we haven't seen it hit the trash just yet. They are playing Virgo as a 2K counter. That's interesting, but I guess it's searchable, so maybe that makes sense. But yeah, I'm hoping they play down the Kobe to KO the Rosinante. I'm hoping they swing 6 into the Sanji. We get to draw an additional card off of that. And they're trying to choose not to swing into us, so that's also cool with me. They're going to play down the Uta. The Uta is going to be easy to remove. They give -2 to Beckman. They're going to tap 5 here for another Tashigi, I'm assuming. And then they'll still have 2 additional Dawn. 1 to go on leader to make this into a 0 cost. And then pop it with the other Tashigi. Yep, looks like that is going to be the option here. Actually, they play Brook into Kobe, and they're going to KO Beckman. So, hey, it is what it is. Again, that is cool with me. We can also go for removing their board. If they choose not to swing us here, we can go Hoodie Jones instead if we want to kind of audible our plays here. This is still going to be a 3 cost, so 3 cost Kobe is going to be coming in very strong. They don't get the Smoker ability, which is good for us. They're only going to be swinging in for 6. So 6 and 6. We can take 1, counter 1, we can take both. It really depends on how we want to play this. If we want to go for more of the Kid play, or if we don't want to, you know. It's definitely giving us options here. So they go for Kobe, discarding a card to KO Beckman. Now all we need to do is just remove Uta off the board. Uta is going to be very obnoxious for us. They're going to swing 6 into Sanji. We are just going to let that go and draw an additional card. Or they might choose not to. Hey, they could choose not to here. And if they choose not to, that's actually a really, really bad misplay. This Uta cannot be KO'd by leader swings. So that is an issue that I have with this Uta right here. They should swing 6 with the Smoker first, just in case they don't want to swing the leader. We're going to let that go. We're going to draw into a Gum Gum Mole Gun. We do have removal on the board now. That's going to be very good for us, in case that's the way we choose to go. With this kind of setup, if we need to be able to remove this Uta for sure, we're going to take this swing. We don't have a character with 6,000 power or more, so we could just go heavy removal on this next turn. Just playing out the Uta, or playing out the Hoodie Jones, taking that last life. And then we'll have 3, restand 2. We would have enough for a Gum Gum Mole Gun, leaving 1 Dawn active. 1 Dawn's just probably not enough though. So it looks like we do have to go for the Kid. That's 8, add 1, tap 2. No, because in 7, you have 3, that goes into 5. Oh, then we only have one additional. Okay, I get where I'm going now. We need a way to remove Uta. That is going to be our biggest thing here. That's my biggest worry. What we could do is go... Well, we should be safe with the Tashigi on the board. So we can just go 6 into Tashigi, tap 8, add 1, rest, restand 2. And then we have Kamakura Sushi, Rosinante, and Tashigi on the board. I like that. So we're just going to go 6 into Tashigi here. They're going to counter out from hand, putting them down to 2 cards in hand. That's kind of our goal, honestly. We're just trying to rip as much as we can out of their hand to continue this game. We can hide behind the Eustace Captain Kidd on this next turn. They shouldn't have a way to remove it easily. They can give it -2, then -1. They drop a Rosinante blocker from hand. Very interesting list here. We're going to go ahead and play Kidd, rest down Kidd to play out Tashigi. We're going to restand to Dawn. And here's where things get tricky because we could go for 2 blockers, which I don't think we need 2 blockers at the moment. I think we're better just keeping the counter in hand and going for Kamakura Sushi. So we're going to move this up. We're going to move these back just so we can keep our counter towards the front. It doesn't matter when you're not playing at locals. If you're playing at locals, obviously don't stack your hand in a specific way because if your opponent does play any hand rip, you're cooked. Yeah, I think we're in a really good spot because now if they do find a way to remove the Eustace Captain Kidd, they only have 3 cards in hand, so they don't have much actual options. We should be pretty safe here. So they tap 7 for Jack. Jack's going to be able to remove the blocker or the Tashigi. I think going for Tashigi is better. Yep, that is very smart by our opponent, but they can't remove it for 3 Dawn here. They shouldn't have a way because they can give -2, -1, make it 5. They shouldn't have a 3-cost character that removes a 5. Most they could do right now is swing 9 into the character. I guess they could go 9 with the leader into the character, so we can't swing the Tashigi, which could be good. Good options and good plays by our opponent. I'm not too worried about it, though, to be honest with you. We do have double Gum Gum Mole Gun, so we can remove the board as much as we need to, thanks to us having Kidd. This 9 is probably better than this 9, just because it's not putting a character sideways. We'll go and give them a 2K counter here and call it a day. We don't need to use any of our counter events or anything like that. We're really just going to go for clearing up the board. We need a way to give this -1000 extra. So if we got a Monet off the top, I wouldn't be mad. Not gonna lie to you guys. So I don't want to have to, double down on the Jack. So we may just swing 10 into Jack here. Just see how they want to play it. We'll swing the 10 all together. See what they want to decide to do. If they choose to counter out, it's going to be every card from their hand. So then we can just go Hody Jones and really go more for removing board. Restand 2, swing 3 into Uta. It's guaranteed to clear the board. This would take every card from their hand. So this gives us the advantage here and forces them into a position that we want them in, so I'm loving it. They let that go. Of course, that's what you should do in that situation. Now we can tap 3 for for Tashigi, tap 2, or restand 2, play out the Hody Jones. So we may go Hody Jones first, actually. Take that last life. We're in a very safe spot. We're going to rest down both of their removal options. We'll restand 2 Dawn here. We'll swing in for... Could go 3 into Uta. Let's just go 5 into Brook here. I want to force cards out of hand or see if they even have counter in hand. Because then we can go 3 into Uta, just getting another card out of hand. We're really just trying to eat them alive here. Because with what we have, now that we have the Rad Beam, oh, they give us double 2Ks? Okay, that's incorrect. That was definitely incorrect. We're going to go 5, we're going to go 8. We're just going to eat up this board like crazy. We still have 2 Dawn as active for the Kamakura Sushi. We have the Kidd sideways. We can just pass safely here. So we have a ton of counter. We still have a ton of removal options. Our opponent's basically just giving up. I think they're kind of raging at this point. We'll swing 5 at our opponent. I'm not giving them the extra option. It's GG's. GG's to our opponent. They didn't really have anything there. They could have KO'd a 3-cost lower character, the Rosinante. Then we would have played out the Rosinante and the Tashigi after they removed our character if they did end up taking that because they didn't have counter. Or we could have just swung in again for 9 and then go all out on the last swing. Kind of just GG's and wraps. I know they misplayed there at the end, giving us 2 2Ks, but at the end of the day, they were going to lose. Even if they had 4K counter, we had the whole board. We were going to be able to go Gum Gum Mole Gun that turn, restand 2, play out Tashigi, leave 1 active for Rad Beam. Like, we were in a very, very safe spot. We had a ton of counter in hand. They had no board, 1 card in hand, plus the 2 they were drawing into, which would have been the Who's Who, but we would have been able to play out the Tashigi, so we would have been safe with all the counter in hand. GG's, Smoker beat Smoker. Doflamingo is another deck that we're probably going to see a lot in this format. They choose to go first, of course, so we're going to just keep this hand. We do have second. We get to play it on Sanji. They will have on curve to be able to cheat out a character and then pop our Sanji back to hand, which will be kind of miserable, but it is what it is. That's what Doflamingo does. Looks like they're going to take a blind or rip. They do have a Perfume Femur. We need to keep that in mind for the late game. We're just going to pass turn here. They're going to swing in 7 at us. We're going to take aggressively. They should be running Red Rocks in this version. For today's meta, they get to look at the top of the deck, cheat out a Mihawk for free, because why not? Just randomly hit a Mihawk, that's only fair. We're going to tap 3 here. We're going to restand 2 Dawn with our leader effect after playing down the Sanji. And we're going to swing 7 into that Mihawk. I don't want to give them early filter, and I don't want to give them a big board. We need to keep control this whole game, so that's why we play some of the options we do. We also play the 8-drop Kid, which really helps into the Doflamingo matchups. We also have Tashigi. We really need to find Tashigi here. They're going to swing in for 9 at our life. We're going to take aggressively. They cheat Outlaw, bounce a character, yada yada. The usual stuff. We get a 20-20 chopper in hand. We're going to be sitting on 6 Dawn, so I think we're going to do the same thing here. Restanding 2 Dawn. We're really just trying to develop some kind of board here, to be honest with you guys. We may just go 5 and then play out the chopper. Going for a 7k blocker is going to be very good for this matchup, so we're just going to do that, get 1 card out of hand. They get to keep the law. That's okay with us. They do have the Martial D Teach, so they can continue to kind of just set up however they need. They grab another Trafalgar Law, bounce a character, yep, the usual stuff here. Now they can Martial D Teach effect, go all out here. And our opponent's putting on a ton of aggression. They could also just bounce a law to continue doing the same thing over and over again. But here is where we get a little safer. We just need to find a way to get a blocker on the board. We have all of our Tony choppers here. We're going to give them a 2k counter because we have so much counter in hand and we don't need that many choppers. We're giving them the info that, hey, we already gave you one of our choppers here. We do get the Rosinante. Rosinante is going to be very, very good now. And we're going to just continue to tax them. We're going to play down 8-drop Kid, restand 2 Dawn, put 1 Dawn on Kid. We're going to swing in for 6 into, we're going to go 5 into Law. Then we're going to go 7 into Law. We don't need to leave any Dawn active. We have a ton of counter already. Then we're going to go 7 into Renewgate. That should go through. Nope, it does not go through. He will rest himself to play out Rosinante, and then we will just pass to our opponent here. So at least we got to develop somewhat of a board. We got the Eustace Captain Kid to hide behind. Yes, we're on 0 life. This is going to be a very long, drawn-out match. Blue Doflamingo is just such a great aggro deck, especially when they find this Martial D Teach early and 2 Trafalgar Laws. They did let that 1 Trafalgar Law go easily, so that might tell me they have another Gecko Moria. Gecko Moria being able to add a 7 Warlord type character or another Law, hey, that works too. Now they're going to be able to add 2 Dawn from the Teach effect, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 Dawn onto their leader. So they're going to swing 11 into Eustace Captain Kid here. We will just be able to counter out of that pretty easily, which is pretty nice. They're going to bounce a character to bounce another one of our characters, because why not use this law as many times as possible? We'll give them 2 2Ks here, both the Tony choppers, and we need to kind of, do we need to control board, or do we need to control hand size? We need to get rid of Martial D Teach. These are all questions we have to ask ourselves here. I think we're going to go for Hody Jones, Rest Teach, Rest, Weevil. We're going to restand 2 Dawn here. We're going to put 1 Dawn on Kid, of course. We're going to swing in for 5 into Teach. We definitely need to remove Teach here. If they counter out, that's cool with me. They choose not to, of course. We're going to go 8 into Weevil. That should get 2 cards out of hand, possibly. Nope, no cards out of hand. We're going to swing in for 9 at Trafalgar Law. We're going to tap 2 to play out Rosinante again. Now we're sitting on Kamakura Joe Sushi, so we're a little safer here in case they do find another Trafalgar Law, which would be kind of miserable. We're sitting on a ton of counter though, so we should be pretty safe. They get to look at the top 5 cards of the deck. We've already seen, what, 2, 3 laws total? They grab another Trafalgar Law, because why would you not just find another Trafalgar Law, you know, just kind of what you do. And yeah, they're going to swing 10 into our character. We're actually going to choose not to Kamakura Joe Sushi just yet. We're going to give them a 2k, 1k, because I'd rather keep the 5k counter for later on when we really need it. I think we're just going to play down, I think we're going to Hody Jones again, literally do the exact same thing. We're going to restand 2 Dawn. They've seen this before. We're going to put 1 Dawn on Kid. We're going to swing 8 into Law. We're going to go 8 into Law. We're not really worried about their board. We're going to go 5 into Face. And then we're going to actually choose not to swing them. No, we should swing them. It would be greedy not to, especially because we are sitting on Kamakura Joe Sushi. Now we play out our blocker. We have our 1 Dawn on Kid. And we have 2 active Dawn. So we still have a ton of counter here, which is really good for us. We're sitting on a solid lot 2, 4, 5, 6, 7k counter, so we're pretty safe here. They do have a Rosinante. They play out Gecko Moria to add Law back to hand. They're going to give 2 Rested Dawn to their leader, and then bounce back the Rosinante again by bouncing back probably Teach to at least have a character on the board. And that's going to be fine with us, honestly. So they're going to go 10 into Kid again. They're going to bounce the Law to bounce our character. And with them just going like this, we're going to go 2k, 1k, because we're going to keep the Kamakura Joe Sushi, because we're going to use it again on this next turn. We're going to play down Ben Beckman, basically the same thing as Hody Jones here. We're going to actually just pop the Teach, because the Teach gives them value, the Gecko doesn't, although just because they need to swing all out at Kid anyways. So now we can swing in for, what, 5, we're going to go 5, 8, 8, 9 at our opponent here. They should just be taking aggressively at this point, because I don't know really what you can do. What we could do this time is actually play down both Tashigi and Rosinante, forcing them to... Let's think about this. Tashigi, Rosinante, we only have 3k counter, but then they have to bounce the Tashigi to bounce the Rosinante, so they have to double dip. No, because then we don't have a Dawn for the kid, so we're just going to swing in for another 9. We're going to tap 2 for Rosinante, and then pass. Say, hey, let's do this whole thing again. They have 12 cards in hand. Obviously, we don't have like a pudding or anything like that. They bounce the Law to bounce the Rosinante. They have 6 Dawn again. They can go 5 Dawn on their leader. Eustace got the kid. And, swing 11. So for 11, we are going to finally Kamakurajo Sushi. +3, -2, resolve the attack there. So we're really not worried about it. GG's to our opponent. We totally just walled up. You could see the grind of that matchup. I hope you enjoyed that one. That's going to be it for this video. So Smoker may be your good local meta call. It may be a good tournament winning meta call. So you have to let me know your thoughts on Smoker down below. If you have a bunch of Doflamingos, if you have a bunch of green purple Luffys, it's definitely a great option for you. So comment down below your thoughts on the deck profile, what you would change, what you would have played differently, and what deck you want to see next. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.